In just a few short months since KALAHUT was founded, it has aspired to bring a viable career path for artists and revive the Indian cultural arts. We are here today to help KALAHUT revise its vision of building a global presence. Next slide. Good morning, judges. My name is Javika, and I'm here with my colleagues Michael, Jagruti, and Adam as an external analysis team for KALAHUT. Next slide. Here is a brief overview of our presentation today, which includes a thorough breakdown of our landscape, our customers, marketing strategy, and how we plan to implement these new processes. Next slide. Through the growth of social media, this has allowed the world to be more connected than ever. There has been a dramatic increase in the appreciation for Indian culture, so one of the challenges KALAHUT faces is figuring out what market to capture next and the right marketing strategy to do that. Next slide. So key areas that we focused our recommendation on was expanding into the Canadian market with our primarily marketing being through social media, Facebook and Instagram, and our targets were towards students with a focus on customer retention. Next slide. In order to tackle these problems, we had first looked at three key factors: the market entry, which was focused on analyzing the competitive landscape, marketing, which focused on determining customer targets, social media presence and budgeting, and finally growth, which emphasized KALAHUT how it can establish its lasting presence in the market.
Okay, so diving into the competitive landscape. Looking at Canada, they are in a unique position where they only have competitors that are community organizations and individual providers. There's no present firm acting as an intermediary service between customers and qualified providers, and we see that this is an opportunity. Additionally, they have the highest industry growth rate at 10%. However, one negative is that from the three options, they do have the lowest cultural arts spending, GDP, and population. The US is a promising market to enter because they have the largest population and a consistent increasing trend in e-commerce. They have a market competition landscape that contrasts Canada, however. Unlike Canada, where there is no firm with a similar service, the US actually has 5. Furthermore, they have the lowest industry growth rate and the lowest customer conversion rate. Lastly, the UK market has positives like their high customer conversion rate of 3.81% and high cultural arts spending. But they already have an established market, and one firm dominates 50% of the market share with a very loyal customer base. So from this, our conclusion is that Canada is the most promising landscape for KALAHUT moving into the future. Canada presents an opportunity for them to act as the first in the door intermediary service provider within the niche of online cultural classes. They can achieve more in success factors such as growth and gaining traction compared to areas like the US and the UK where similar firms already exist. Now, the big question is, with a marketing budget of $5,000, how can we put it to good use? We use the cost per click and conversion rate data to calculate the profit in Canada by utilizing our budget on our ads through one social media channel. From our analysis, Facebook came out as the most profitable and cost-effective place to market. It was interesting though, because when looking at our survey data, Facebook was a low source of discoverability for our customers. Approximately 59.3% came from Instagram and only 5.3% from Facebook. An interesting observation was that the return on investment on marketing is always negative if a customer only takes one class. A customer would have to enroll in 3 or 5 sessions depending on which social media platform the ad was on to be profitable. This highlights the importance of customer loyalty in ensuring profitability. And at the bottom, we can see initiatives that we recommend for retaining customers and ensuring customer loyalty. And this includes bundling, giveaways on Instagram, and discounts on every 3rd class. Another question is, what classes should we market? According to the survey data, the most popular responses for dances that customers were interested in were Bharatanatyam and Kathak.
So moving on to our target customer, we really wanted to establish a customer profile based on the survey data we were given. So our average customer is fairly young, with an average age of about 22 years old, and that's normally distributed for the most part, with a maximum age of 50 and a minimum age of 8 years old, with about 63% of them being students. Generally, these are people who have had exposure or experience to traditional Indian dance previously. About 78% reported that. An equal proportion of them self-report as either novice or intermediate looking to improve. So we have about 83% of them not being professionals. Moving on to budget allotment. Based on our analysis on budget allotment, investing directly into Facebook advertising in Canada would be the most cost-effective way to spend our advertising dollars. However, with the majority of our customers from our survey stating that they heard about KALAHUT from Instagram, and with our audience skewing a little bit younger to around 21 to 22 years old, we believe it makes a lot of sense for us to diversify our channels and pursue Instagram in combination with Facebook, since it'll probably be a little bit more representative of our demographic. This would serve to mitigate risk in this instance, and also hopefully make sure we're reaching our target audience. In terms of an optimal product mix of how much Facebook, how much Instagram, we landed on a percentage of about 69 to 31%. The reason being is that we wanted to hit that 3-class break-even point, which only Facebook allowed us to do. So by combining these two in this proportion, we're allowed to keep that break-even point of 3 classes to break even on our advertising dollars. This, however, does come at an opportunity cost of 591 impressions if we're to only advertise through Facebook. And the total ad lookout would be about 2,800 Facebook ads for $3,000 and 1,300 Instagram ads for about $2,000.
Due to budget constraints, we couldn't focus a lot on multi-dimensional growth plans, but here's something that KALAHUT can employ going above and beyond. After we've exhausted our budget on customer acquisition, the next step is customer retention. We know that from previous analysis that the company can make profit only when it has returning customers. So to ensure that, a loyalty program that gives a certain % off on every third of fifth lesson will incentivize retention of customers. The cost can be borne by participating trainers and KALAHUT in partnership to ensure a win-win situation for both parties. Next is the quality customer experience, which is very essential to have a larger piece of the market share. Now, this involves a 3-pronged approach, starting with the ability to rate trainers after each session, conducting short surveys after every sale to analyze data points, and become active listeners as a company. And lastly, securing funding for KALAHUT must focus on mobile app development so that all ratings, surveys, all of these things can just pop up right after a lesson ends, and a consumer have the ability to book these lessons and chat with the trainer ahead of time. Lastly, targeting the demographic between 29 to 40 age bracket is a likely opportunity because immigrants in Canada are emotionally driven to teach their children about the Indian culture. So targeting them can build pipelines to enroll their kids who start on early and stay on as long-term clients to complete their degrees in various art forms. Next slide, please. So here we see a mock-up and a closer view of what a review and rating system would look like on an app version. So focusing on parameters like trainer expertise, learnings from the experience that the consumer gets, and a consumer's overall web or app experience. Further, we want to segment how we target or position our brand messaging. So for the younger generation, we want to employ more interactive content on Instagram and other social media platforms using videos and giveaways, and also employing TikToks and Reels, which have low cost, actually no cost at all for CPC, but have a lot of organic growth. Also for the older generation, we want to employ some of emotional marketing techniques, showing graphics of parents and children bonding over a cultural aspect. Next slide, please. Now, since the data provided to us is limited, there's uncertainty about an equal distribution to age demographic initial customer acquisition. All survey data available is also from customers in India. So while this may be different in Canada, it leads to a risk of data misleading inferences for target demographics and social media choice. Additionally, data into conversion rates is general per country and doesn't account for social media platforms, which can lead to inefficient use of marketing budget. What we recommend is using extensive marketing data collection and research in the coming years to produce an effective marketing and social media insights collection. Next, current capacity of the trainers is capped at 16. So with more and more customers coming in due to expansion, this can be an issue if the service providers are not proportionate to the demand. So the mitigation strategy is again having and retaining high quality service providers. And lastly, customer loyalty and experience are the 2 most important metrics of success for KALAHUT to be profitable. And quality assurance can be assured too, which we provide through the mitigation strategy of having a review and rating system in place and focusing on it very heavily. Next slide.
So what does the next year look like for KALAHUT? In December 2020, we plan to use $1,000 for a budget to release ads on Instagram, as this is a social media platform that the majority of our primary target market uses, as well as some Facebook. This would also allow us to take advantage of the holiday season and start to generate that buzz about our programs. A few months later, in March 2021, we'll be able to evaluate the success of our ads and how we can improve before placing a larger sum of that budget, about $2,000, to continue that momentum. June 2021 will be the best time to do a final evaluation, as summer has just begun and many students have more free time to actively take part in KALAHUT's programs as well as learn about the Indian culture. This could also be a good opportunity to integrate our secondary market, such as parents and kids, onto the platform. With that, a large part of our budget will be spent more equally between Facebook and Instagram. September 2021, we want to continue our organic growth on social media and develop a presence, but also establish ourselves in Canada. So this could mean building relationships with other cultural groups in Canada. Finally, by the end of December 2021, we would want to have established a strong customer base with our primary market, as well as expand to the secondary and continue our efforts in Canada. Next slide. Overall, what we see is that entering the Canadian market will be very profitable while employing growth through Instagram and Facebook, with a focus on customer experience and loyalty, as well as making sure that we're able to retain them. Thank you for listening to our presentation. We can now open up the floor for any questions and are happy to take a more in-depth look into our breakdown or calculations in the next few sections with our exhibits.